Hello folks, Why Guy here again. Welcome to my home on this very beautiful winter morning. It's gorgeous out here. Hi Ollie. The name of this video is called The Why Guy Exposes a Lie That's Attached to Faith. Now I want to share with you folks of how I was raised and what I was taught for 30 plus years. And now, and a little bit of different in my opinion and how I believe now. And there's difference because of the lie that was exposed. Okay? Because someone wrote me and they told me that, speaking of free will, quote, it's not a doctrine of men. Well, let me back up. Because I shared with him, I said, your free will, how you're putting it, is a doctrine of men. This was a comment left on my YouTube channel. Okay? So now you got a little bit of context there, okay? A little bit of backstory. Quote, anyway, speaking of free will, was not a doctrine of men, and that is exactly how the scripture reads. It is a gift by which a free will choice, you notice how you put those two words together, free will and choice, makes through faith believing it. Close quote. Now, let me read it again, but I won't insert my own little sideline notes here, okay? Quote, was not a doctrine of men, and that is exactly how the scripture reads. It is a gift by which a free will choice makes through faith believing it. Close quote. Now, you know, when I first read that made absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. And I have a feeling most of you as my viewers are thinking, I heard it twice just now, and it still doesn't make sense. Well, let me explain. After I really, a little further conversation with him, I didn't want to share our whole conversation, but let me explain it, okay? To somehow prove his point, he then quoted Ephesians 2:8, quote, for by grace you have been saved through faith, and that is not of your own doing. It is a gift of God, close quote. Now, remember, not of your own doing. I understood this comment and his previous ones as how he was basically telling me that it takes an act of our free will to receive a gift of faith. Okay, did that help clear it up? Now here on a side note, don't you just love it when folks say things like, quote, that is exactly how the scripture read. Ironically, the term free will doesn't exactly exist in scripture. That's kind of hilarious and ignorant, isn't it? Or exposing ignorance. Now here's my answer. No, not so. Not one version of the Bible, especially from the Koine Greek, if you want to use that as a reference, they agree exactly, as he put it, with each other. They don't. So the word exactly is moot, completely moot. However, unless an insertion was made to change the context of most Bible passages, they agree with each other, and that is the most important part, I think, anyway, whatever. To apply the gift of faith to the free will is not at all exactly what it says, nor is it in context in any version. One's free will isn't even mentioned in context of faith, but is only an assumption on a person's part via doctrines of men. So when people say it's a gift received by faith, and receiving it is an act of our free will, we must first put free will just kind of on the back burner. All right? And put it on hold and ask the question, whose faith? It's obvious that the free will that this guy's talking about, and when people in general talk about free will, they're talking about their own free will, our personal free will. But whose faith are we talking about in this context? Okay? If it's our personal faith, then that's speaking of something that comes from us, right? That we somehow just conjure up by our own power and abilities, which people call free will. That's the lie that's attached to faith. But why? Because it becomes something of ourselves and not a gift after all. If faith is a gift, then it's not something we gave to ourselves. Who would that make sense to? Which goes along with yet another lie that's attached to faith. Another lie, you've heard this one before, of a gift isn't a gift unless you're willing to receive it. Where did that come from? If faith is a gift, then who gave it? Here's the answer. It's the faith of Christ. the big O-F of Christ. And it's his faith that was given to us, so no man can boast about it being their own faith. Now let's insert free will into the mix. If it's all about the act of our free will to receive a gift, then that act of that free will, then that too would be of ourselves. Because free will is of ourselves, right? Okay? Rather than not of our own doing, as is mentioned in Ephesians 2:8. And ironically, people boast about their free will more than all other topics. And they defend it to... Anyway, you get me, right? So I hope that made sense. So I'm coming close to a close. It's not a very long video. In my opinion, all of mankind has the faith of Christ. Okay? The faith of Christ's gift that's deposited in all of us at birth, because I kind of take it along with, and I know it's a little bit of a stretch, when God breathed into the nostrils of Adam, breathed into mankind, I can't help but to feel that faith is all part of the mix, because also, as another possible stretch, that Christ was slain before the foundation of the earth, before Adam was ever even created. Okay? Before mankind existed. So that's kind of how I kind of look at it. I kind of combine with God breathing into the nostrils of mankind, along with the fact that Christ was slain before the foundation of the earth, that, in a sense, all of God was given to us at that point. And that includes the gift of faith, in my opinion, okay? So I know, you can brush that off if you want, but that's kind of where I'm coming from. So what ends up happening is all of mankind has the faith of Christ, the gift that's deposited in us, I believe, from birth. And in God's perfect timing, he just simply opens up our understanding to it. Thus it becomes part of us. At least part of this part of us. It's always been part of us, okay, that Spirit of God that is in us, that binds us and makes us one with God's Spirit. It's always been part of that, but it becomes part of our understanding of our life. When I say part of us, I mean it in that context. It's as if a light just goes off in our head. It's really cool. So when God opens our understanding, it automatically becomes one with us, as if it was always there, since, frankly, it was. That's what's so cool. That's why it's a gift. You know, our free wills has absolutely nothing to do with it. However, if we choose, okay, that's that important word, using what some call an unscriptural free will, to ignore that gift, which is what's always brought up, okay, it doesn't make faith any less of a gift, nor invalidates it in any way if we choose to ignore it. That's what... That's why it states, quote, by grace, close quote, it was given. You know, if someone deposited a gift of money into your bank account, it's there available for you, right? It's sitting there in the account. However, if you just choose to ignore it, it could be described as useless. That's all. And faith without works is useless. Again, am I stretching this too far? But the gift is still there nonetheless. It just is there. Okay? I think the problem, in closing this video, I think the problem is how people are getting free will mixed up with free choice. That's where I do. And because they're not synonymous, as I proved in a previous video, by quoting numerous dictionaries, encyclopedias, and journals describing the differences between choice and a person's will. Because a person can have a choice to do something, and their will can decide to do it or not to do it. And see, so choice is just part of the mix. It's not the same, if that makes any sense. Anyway, look me up on Facebook if you'd like. I have an avatar name of Jonathan Jones. Did you remember to give me a thumbs up by any chance on this video? I'm going to try to remember to ask you guys to do this at the beginning of the videos, but I probably never will, because I just don't remember. I've got the video on my mind, and I'm rambling. So, look me up on Facebook under a group called the Y Guy Group, and it's this private group, and I have an avatar name of Jonathan Jones. Consider subscribing if you haven't already, and give me, like I already said, a thumbs up. And scroll down to the Show Me More section. I have 6 links there I would like you to take a peek at. Okay? Thank you for viewing.